Can you believe it? The Democrats are coming for your guns. Yep, very recently, the new Democratic Congress, the House of Representatives, passed H.R. 8. This is a bill that demands universal background checks on all firearm sales, among other things. But the universal background check is the big thing that they're pushing for. And what's happening is the Democrats are saying 80% of the people in America are in favor of universal background checks. Well, what that means to me is 80% of the people in America don't understand that universal background checks will not stop crimes. And I put together a really interesting column. Well, I think it's really interesting because I wrote it, but a really interesting column about how universal background checks do not stop crime. And you can get that column, just click in the link right down below in the description of this. We'll give you that column so that you can read it, understand it, and give it to everybody else so that we can all understand. Again, universal background checks do not stop crime. Part of what we're talking about is let's understand what the universal background check law means, okay? If you own a gun right now, because it's not law, right now, in most places, you can sell that gun to anybody you want without a background check. Nobody needs to know about it. You can sell it at a garage sale. You can sell it to your cousin or whoever. You can get rid of this gun, dispose of it any way that you like. No background check. And people are calling this the gun show loophole or something like that. And that's completely different. Most people selling at gun shows are federally licensed firearms dealers, and they do the background checks anyway. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about universal background check on the private sale of firearms. And guess why this won't stop a crime, okay? So let's just say that Tom decided he wanted to sell me a gun. Great. And there is a universal background check law in place. That's what we're going to assume right now. Tom decides he wants to sell me the gun. He decides, Kevin, buy this gun. Okay, we take it to a federally licensed firearm dealer. We go through the background check. I buy the gun. Great. Now I decide I'm having a bad day. I'm going to go rob a bank. Well, you know what? That background check they just did on me because I'm not a criminal and I passed the background check didn't stop the crime. Okay? That's item one. Didn't stop that crime at all. Now the police catch me and I have the gun with me. And we did the background check. Again, no crime stopped. All it's doing is slowing down good people from selling and transporting their guns. But now let's assume we're talking about real criminals here. Tom, a real criminal, decides to sell me, a real criminal, a gun because, you know what, I need this gun so I can go rob somebody. So Tom sells me the gun without a background check. I take the gun, I go rob somebody. That person calls the police arrive, I'm gone. So is the gun. The cops don't know that Tom sold me the gun. They don't know where I got the gun. They've never even seen the gun. The crime was not stopped at all. And it didn't even slow me, the criminal, down from buying the gun. So let's take it another step further. I decide I need to rob somebody. I call up my friend Tom. Hey, Tom, sell me a gun. I'm going to go on a robbery spree. Tom sells me a gun. He's like, okay, let's see what happens here. And he should have done a background check, but he didn't. Law of the land, universal background check, but he didn't do that. So he sells me the gun. I go robbing a bunch of people. The police finally catch me, but I don't have the gun on me. But they know it was me. Again, didn't stop any crime, and they still don't know where this gun is, or where I got it, or what's going on with it. See? Not stopping any crime. Take it one step further. I buy the gun from Tom. I go on my robbery spree. The cops catch me, and they got me, and they got the gun. But guess what? They still didn't stop the crime. They just got me, and they got the gun. Now, I'm sitting in the interrogation room, and they say, where'd you get the gun? And I say, I'm not going to tell you. Because, honor among thieves, whatever. Rats, snitches get stitches. I'm not going to tell anybody. So what are the cops going to do? Are they going to say, all right, Kevin, here's the deal. We will drop the charges from felony robbery to misdemeanor assault if you tell us where you got the gun. That's not going to happen, and that's not going to solve any crime. It's not going to stop any crime. People who think universal background checks stop crime are completely mistaken about how criminals get their guns and about how police do investigations after the crime has happened. Did you catch that? After the crime has happened. Okay, so there is a way that a universal background check could stop crime. Here's the way, and we'll see if you want to follow through with this, if you are in support of universal background checks after you understand how they stop crime. In order for a universal background check to work, what the police have to have is a complete list, a registry, if you will, a complete list of every gun that you currently own. And then they have to check on that list regularly to see that you still own all of those guns. And if you don't have every single gun on your list, then they get to ask why and who you sold it to and whether or not you did a background check. Okay, so now we've got a firearms registry going on right there. And the police checking on your firearms registry every so often to decide, well, how often are they going to check? What job are the cops going to do to check? Once a year? Okay, that means you got a whole year to commit crimes if you sell a gun without a background check. And then they'll check on you and they say, oh, you're missing a gun. Where is that gun? Well, I sold that a year ago. Somebody's been out there committing crimes for a year with that gun. All right, so they're going to have to check sooner than a year. Maybe they do it every 6 months. Maybe they do it every 3 months. Nope, still not going to stop crime because people have that opportunity to sell the gun. Criminal commits the crime before anybody figures out where the gun is or who was using it. So if police want to stop crime with a universal background check, what it has to happen is we got a complete registry of your firearms registered to you at your address, and the police can come and check on them anytime they want. They have to be able to do it randomly, or you might be able to sell the gun and no one would know about it because, right? People sell drugs all the time and nobody knows about it. So they have to have the registry of firearms. They have to be able to do random inspections of your firearms and check the list. That sounds a hell of a lot like a police state, doesn't it? Nobody wants that. So in order for a universal background check to work, we got to stomp all over the Second Amendment, which is what the Democrats want to do anyway, but then we got to stomp all over the Fourth Amendment, which protects you from unreasonable search and seizure of your property. Universal background checks will not ever stop crime. What they will do is, if the police find the gun after the crime, they will allow them to press charges against someone who sold that gun, but it's still not going to stop the crime. It's all listed out in this story that I'm going to give to you. Again, click on the link in the description. You can read the whole story and understand that universal background checks is just the first step to registration and confiscation of your guns. It won't stop any crime. Criminal activity, they don't call the police station and say, hey, I'm about to commit a crime. I'm taking this gun. Here's what we're going to do with it. They do it secretly in the back alleys or without anybody seeing it. The guns change hands, someone goes and commits a crime, and then they run away. And cops got to figure out where that gun is and where it came from. But they can only do that after the crime has been committed. That's why universal background checks won't stop crime. I hope I've been clear. I know it's kind of convoluted, and it certainly doesn't make for a 30-second pitch that you can use on CNN or something like that. This is a very complicated topic, and they're trying to distill it down to like 20 seconds. Oh, yes. People who shouldn't have guns, so a background check will stop them. No, it won't. Most of the people who are committing crimes are already felons. They're not allowed to have guns anyway, but they still got them. They still got them without going through a background check. So you tell me why a universal background check is going to work. Comment down below, and hey, guess what? Share this video with everybody you know, because the whole nation needs to understand that the Democrats are coming for your guns, and they're tricking you into thinking that universal background checks will help.